I used to love the outdoors. Growing up, I would take every opportunity I had to go hiking, or if my parents would allow it, camping with my friends and their parents. I don't do either of those things anymore. My last camping trip with my family was when I was 16. It was summer, and to celebrate the end of another tumultuous school year, my dad decided to treat me to a camping trip, while also dragging my significantly less enthusiastic mom along for the ride. I'll be honest, I had my doubts from the very start. Neither of my parents were very knowledgeable about the outdoors. They spent most of their time working in the city, and most of the hiking and camping trips I'd gone on before had been done with my best friend and his significantly more outdoorsy parents. My parents were both smart people, but they weren't really all that knowledgeable about the outdoors. But my parents being, well, my parents, they tended to think they know what was best for me, even though they're objectively wrong. That's the way with most parents, I suppose. I might have been way younger than them, but even I knew back then that I was probably more experienced in these sorts of things. I was worried they would ignore something important at some point. My concerns would be proven to be completely warranted by the end of our trip. The first few nights of camping went fine. My mom complained about most of the time, either about the mosquitoes or how hard the sleeping bags my dad bought were. But all things considered, things were going pretty great. I got to bask in the outdoors like I wanted while sharing my love for it with my parents. Then, on the third day, we came across something on the path that changed my life forever. We were hiking up a small mountain when we came across a couple of brown bear cubs a little ways away from the hiking trail. I'm no bear expert, but even I could tell that they were not even half a year old yet. Of course, they were adorable, and of course, my parents were enamored by the sight of them. But while they were busy taking pictures of them on their phones, I was eternally panicking. I pleaded for them to stop laughing around and get back to quickly walking the trail. I'd watched countless hiking safety videos on preparation for the trip. The most dangerous animal every single one of them warned against were bears, especially mother bears with their cubs. I tried to tell my parents that all mother bears raise and protect their cubs by themselves, and during that time would be far more aggressive towards other animals than they would be normally. Predictably enough, they didn't listen. My dad even trudged off the trail and tried to pet one of the bear cubs. The little bear cub let out a small yawn, apparently pleased at being pet, and my dad kept petting them, thinking that nothing was wrong because nothing had happened to him yet. My mother stood nearby taking pictures. Afterwards, she just stood there like a sitting duck for what must have been 5 minutes, looking through filters to put on the picture. My ignored concerns were proven painfully valid. The mother bear returned. She had just finished hunting for food, and upon seeing the two humans near her cub, she flew into a blind rage and charged at them. I was able to notice the mother bear charging towards us in time to warn them, but my warnings fell on deaf ears just as before. The mother bear pounced on my father and tore open his throat with a single bite. Then it turned to my horrified mother and mauled her face with a single swing of its gigantic paw, whilst it continued to savage my parents as they screamed in agony. I dropped to the ground, not a moment too soon either. The second my back hit the dirt, my body froze up in shock and fear. The bears were brown, and I remember the adage for dealing with bears. If it's black, fight back. If it's brown, get on the ground. I stay there on the ground as the bears sniffed at my sweating body. Seconds later, it moved on to tear into the corpses of my parents. It must have thought my scrawny teenage body wasn't enough sustenance to be worth mauling. I forced myself to stay silent the entire time it ate my parents' corpse only a few feet away from me. A park ranger found me passed out on that exact same spot hours later. I told him everything that happened. The whole thing was written off as a tragedy, and an unavoidable one at that. I live with my best friend and his parents now. Although they've tried multiple times to get me back into camping, I don't think I'll ever set foot in the forest again.